Yo, like, comment, subscribe. Here we go.
That's my baby. That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored. They did it.
Left, feet left.
What the hell was that? Oh, yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Welcome, everybody, to the Flight Zone. We had a very interesting week since the last time we talked. I got some hate. Evan got some unnecessary hate. It was about our poll last week. We're going to clarify that tonight. We got to talk about the Eagles because the last time we talked, Carson Wentz was still an Eagle. Guess what? Now he's not. He's not an Eagle. What do I do with that What do I do with this jersey, Ev? What do I do? What do I do with the green one? I don't. I'm not burning it.
Nah, you're not burning. You're probably gonna color it blue.
We're gonna color it blue. We're gonna color it blue. Nah, I'm just gonna wait till March 17th. I'm just gonna wait until March 17th when I could purchase my Carson Wentz Colts jersey. And yes, I'm gonna do that. Yes, you could call me a traitor to Philadelphia, but guess what? It's just a common theme in this city that I want to talk about tonight. I want to talk about a lot tonight. I got a lot of roasting of the Philadelphia organization. The fact that we traded this guy for a third and a conditional second-round pick just disgusts me. I absolutely just mind boggles me. I really didn't think it was going to happen. I didn't think you could trade a contract like that unless you were to just put your organization in absolute hell. And that is exactly what our general manager did. He traded a non-tradable contract. And guess what? We're $34 million in dead cap now. $34 million in dead cap.
Most in NFL history.
And you did all this because of a local media that just likes to drive young youth out of town. You did this because your front organization is weak. You're weak-minded. You did this because you got young players that don't know any better and want to choose this guy over that guy. And then you had people that you had players that you signed that you weren't supposed to sign. You were supposed to sign Malcolm. You weren't supposed to sign Alshon. It's just this organization is just in absolute hell. And I don't understand how we got to this moment, Ev. I don't get it.
I agree, Jimmy. We were kind of like saying this was going to happen before it actually happened. There was a lot of speculation for months and months about whether Carson would come back or not. And of course, like the media takes everything out of proportion as they always do with everything else. It's just an unfortunate situation. We got worse that we got more for Sam Bradford than we got for Carson Wentz, which is absolutely ridiculous. And the fact that something can happen and we can end up with just a third and a second, it's disgusting, dude. It's disgusting. I think we should have definitely got at least a first-round pick.
Well, once Wentz plays the 75% of the plays, we'll get the first-round pick. We will. So it will end up that we may get more for Wentz. Anything can happen. But if you just want to just throw it up in the air, we will get more for Wentz than what we got for Bradford, just depending on if Wentz plays 75%, which I'd bet that he would. I don't know if Wentz haters will say, "Oh, he'll go down in week 1. He'll break his collarbone. He'll get another concussion. He'll blah 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 blah."
He has a decent offensive line. So he has an offensive line that won't make him the most sacked quarterback in history of football. So
yeah. All right, Brian says, "What's up, boys? We all went through that shit together. Some people don't quite get what we do here at A2D." I think he's referring to our poll question last week, which was, would you trade? And we're going to go right into this right now. We're going to talk about this for a little bit because I have some things to say about that. The poll was, in case you missed last week's episode, in case you missed the Twitter just fiasco from A2D Radio, not because of them, it was because of us, and it was because of people that just didn't understand the question. The question was, you take 10 years of Carson Wentz at an elite level in hope that you'd win more than one Super Bowl, but if that were to happen, the 2017-2018 Super Bowl 52 victory would be stripped from us. It's a gamble. You'd be taking one with the possibility you'd be taking one away with the possibility that you'd be getting more. And all the people that said, yeah, I'm staying with Super Bowl 52. It was the best day of my life. Guess what? It was the best day of my life, too. I'm 21 years young. People were calling us, oh, young bucks. We don't know what we're talking about. They're not grateful. Get these clowns off the radio. What does A2D come to? They didn't understand the question. And the question is a valid question. Because guess what? We just traded away our franchise cornerstone piece because of media, because of front office, and because of players knowing players. Now we traded him away. What are we going to do for the next 1, 2, 3 years? What are we going to do? We have Jalen Hurts, the next Russell Wilson, according to Howie Roseman, and yet he's talking about drafting another quarterback at 6. If he's Russell Wilson, why are we talking about drafting a quarterback at 6 this year? If he was Russell Wilson, why didn't you trade Wentz last offseason on draft night? So you did that, right? If Wentz is playing at an elite level for the next 10 years, my hypothetical, that I still want, by the way, I'd sacrifice the Super Bowl to get more. Because guess what? I don't want to live in misery like the rest of our fan base did for 50-something years, like my grandfather did, like my dad did, like my mom did. I don't want to live in misery for the next 50 years. I want the chance to have Carson Wentz playing at an elite level for 10-plus years with Doug and him developing together without Howie Roseman. Because guess what? If Carson Wentz is playing at an elite level right now, Howie's gone. You want to know why Howie would be gone? Because Carson would have DK Metcalf right now if he was playing at an elite level. Jalen Hurts would have never been drafted. We would have rebuilt the aging offensive line if Carson Wentz is still playing elite right now. And I know this is all hypothetical. I know, trust me. But it's better to talk about something new rather than talk about, it's time to trade Wentz. It's time to trade Wentz. No, it's over. It's done.
Yep. I just want to go off one point that you said about the trade. I feel like they love Hurts. I don't necessarily think that this is kind of like a technique they use for teams to draft up in a draft or move up in a draft, like the Broncos we were talking about. The Patriots can move up and want that pick, but you never really know with Howie. Like, he's made the most boneheaded mistakes throughout the few years, not drafting DK, Jefferson or Rager over Jefferson.
Eagles champ 1. If you've been listening to us for, I don't know, whenever we started this, even before A2D, he is the complete opposite of a Wentz fanboy. So tune in more and you could hear that. Because if you were on the show last week, you'd understand that he's not a Wentz boy. Him and I have gotten into almost fist fights over Carson Wentz 2 years ago. Yep. So come on. Oh, yeah. Come on. Let's go to the poll as Ryan brought it up. The poll of the day today is, and I quote, the Eagles still have a shot at winning the NFC East. Agree or disagree? I 1,000% disagree. I think this franchise is going to be a shit show for the next 5 years at least. Howie Roseman is still going to be here. Jeffrey Lurie is still going to own the team. Nick Sirianni isn't going to be able to coach. Nick Sirianni isn't going to be able to put in his lineup on game day just like Doug did. And I want to make a public apology to Doug Peterson because I roasted that man like no other. And I've realized I had an epiphany that it's not Doug Peterson. It wasn't. Yeah, his play calling sucked and his game plan sucked, but he's a Super Bowl winning coach, and I got to put some respect on that.
And the reports are like they didn't speak for 10 weeks. I think that's
bullshit.
Crazy.
That is bullshit. I'm sick of reports. Because you know what? With all the anonymous sources of Carson Wentz is a bad teammate, Carson Wentz doesn't talk to his head coach, Carson Wentz doesn't take accountability for his actions, Carson Wentz just wants to throw us down the shitter. Who are you hearing that from? Are you hearing it from Carson Wentz himself? Are you hearing it from his agent himself? Because what I hear about Carson Wentz comes directly from teammates in the press conferences. I never heard once a teammate go out of their way and say that he was a bad teammate. I've heard multiple times that, especially this year, when the benching went on, when everybody was playing like dog shit, that they felt bad that Carson was the one that was getting blamed for this when the whole team was playing like absolute shit.
Yeah.
In the famous words of Jason Kelce, it's the whole team.
Mm-hmm. And to this poll, I would say, I mean, they still have a shot. It's the NFC East at the end of the day. Of course, the Redskins are going to get better. The Cowboys are going to get Dak back. The Giants getting Saquon back. They're rebuilding, or they're building. It's just something that might happen, but we really don't know. It just depends on how Hurts develops, and it is what it is.
It was true. They didn't. How can a head coach and a starting quarterback not talk for 3 weeks straight? I think they had a bye week through, I think it was week 10. But how can a starting quarterback and a head coach not have any type of verbal communication when that starting quarterback is still starting? Where are you getting this from? I'm being serious. Where are you getting this from?
When I think of not talking, obviously they'll talk on the field, but talking like I think they mean like talking after, not after games. It's just like talking.
They got it. They work 6 days a week, Ev.
Yeah, I know. No, I know. I'm agreeing that they talk during practice and all that, but like they don't have that personal time together, not bond, but you know what I mean? Like the special connection a coach has with their quarterback, they never really got after the drafting of Hurts, honestly.
Do I talk to my supervisor when it's 9:30 at night when I'm off? Do I? No.
You can.
I play COD.
You can.
I play COD. I watched Joel Embiid choke. I watched Korkmaz miss 5 3-pointers. I watched the Flyers. I watched the Flyers absolutely collapse because I've been saying it. They need a grinder. They need a defenseman. I watch that shit when I'm off. I don't talk to my supervisor. I talk to my supervisor when I'm at work.
Hey, but you're
talk to my coach when I'm on the practice field.
That's different, Jimmy.
How is it different? Evan, you play you row. Do you talk to your coach 24/7?
I'm not to him 24/7.
So when do you talk to your coach? You talk to your coach at practice. You talk to your coach during your meets.
Connection a quarterback has with a coach that not a practice team player doesn't have a connection to Doug Peterson like a quarterback would. Can you agree with that? Like, I don't think they mean they didn't talk ever. They had to talk during games. That just makes sense. But I don't know about that.
I'm just saying. I played high school football. I played high school rugby. I played a little bit of football in college. I wasn't a quarterback. In rugby, I'm somewhat of a quarterback. I did not talk to my coach on my off time. I talked to my coach during games. I talked to my coach during halftime. I talked to my coach during practices. And then we'll maybe shoot a text about like what we thought was going on.
I mean, quarterbacks and coaches do that all the time. Do you think?
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. They say that all the time. So what did you go through Carson Wentz's text messages? Did you go through Doug Peterson's text messages?
I don't know if I did that 100%, but like, I don't know.
How can we say his play calling sucked if reports are true that Carson was changing plays at the line? Once again, I hate to beat a dead horse, but I don't think Carson would intentionally go out of his way to change every single play call because he thought it was going to be the right one, especially with a makeshift offensive line every single week, and especially with guys that can't get open, can't get separation. And when he does put it on a dot, they drop it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand all this Carson Wentz negativity propaganda bullshit. It's over.
Mm-hmm.
It's over. Everybody that wanted him out got him out. So we'll see what happens. But best know I'm getting my Colts Carson Wentz jersey, and best know that I'm still going to be cheering for the Eagles because I am an Eagles fan. I am one of the biggest Eagles fans that I know, and I just want to say that right then and there, because guess what? I'm going to be cheering for Carson Wentz, and I'm also going to be cheering for the Colts for the Eagles. That's not a crime. The only time I won't be cheering for Carson Wentz and the Colts is if it negatively affects the Eagles, because I'm an Eagles fan. It's not illegal to still like Carson Wentz.
Fair enough.
These comments are getting to me right now.
He's playing. This kid's a troll. Absolute troll.
They do, Anthony Mack, and I don't know if you could be if you're trolling me or not, but I know they love him.
They do, they really do. I mean, I wouldn't say he was ever really a bad teammate. He went out and literally texted his teammates like right after, like a day after he got traded and stuff.
I hate all reports, and now I hate this team. I
wouldn't even necessarily say I hate the team. I just hate who it's being organized by.
Yeah.
And that's whose fault is at the end of the day. If your quarterback, if those the off chance that's true that your quarterback and your coach aren't talking, that's more than just an issue with the quarterback and the coach. That's the higher ups. They're supposed to facilitate all that.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't. Maybe those reports were true a few years ago when they're saying, remember when Howie they put him in the back, like the whole speech that Kelsey was talking about Howie Roseman. They were probably right the whole time. I don't think the Super Bowl was a fluke by any part, but I think it was lucky.
Yeah. There's a lot of people saying I just want to clear stuff up. He wanted out and Colts wanted him. I know it was time to go, and I know that how do I word this? I knew it was coming because the Eagles front office, the media, and players were ready to move on, and Carson was ready to move on. But I just want to say, under no fault is this Carson's. You're talking about a guy that got drafted, had an okay rookie season. Okay. Not off the charts. He showed flashes of just greatness, and then he showed what a rookie would do.
Yep.
A typical rookie would do. And then he comes into his second year, into a city that has been losers for decades upon decades upon decades. I just got done watching Phillies Game 5, 2008, when they clinched. I just got done watching that. And I obviously I knew all these years, all the winning and whatnot, but you had the Flyers win in 75. You had the Phillies win in 80. You had the Sixers win in 83. And then you had the Eagles win in 1960.
Yep.
That was before 2008, right? Those were the only championships that we've had.
Yep.
The Eagles never had a Super Bowl. And in this kid's second year, he has one of the greatest single seasons of any Eagles quarterback in franchise history. And he is voted upon by his fellow colleagues that he is the third best player in the league.
Yep.
This is what, 3 years ago?
Yeah. Before you get any of that, Jimmy, I have a question.
What?
What were you saying about Wentz after the first year? Were you freaking out? Or were you saying you're not sold on him? Were you saying you weren't sold on him?
No, because his flashes, I just instantly fell in love with him because of the flashes of greatness that he showed.
Did you not see? You didn't see any flashiness at all from Jalen Hurts that whole time. You didn't see not one thing that impressed you. You can't go.
His escapability.
Jimmy. You can't go and say you're not sold on a player. If you do that with Carson Wentz, you got to do the same thing with Hurts.
His escapability it amazes me. But I told you this before the Saints game. He's going to have a great game against the Saints. I said that. We could go back to the archives. We can go back to our Zoom meeting.
You did say that.
I said he's going to have a great game against the Saints. Yeah. And I said after the Saints game, I was like, wow, that was a great game. I'm impressed.
It was the rookie mistakes that killed him.
But
just as Carson Wentz had rookie mistakes.
A scrambling quarterback that depends on his legs more than his arms frightened me because none of them have ever won a Super Bowl. And at the end of the day, I want to win a Super Bowl.
He's getting better. Have you seen the videos? Have you seen
Ben Simmons shoot threes in practice? Yeah. Have you seen him shoot them in the game?
There's difference between Ben Simmons and Jalen Hurts that Jalen Hurts can actually get shit done, where Ben Simmons is just a little joke artist. We'll go later. Continue your point.
I could continue.
Go ahead.
I asked, is he going to be able to keep it up once there's film on him? And guess what? He struggled. He struggled in his second game to start against the Cardinals. And then he came back with his athleticism and his escapability. And then what happened against the Cowboys when there was 2 games of film on him? Had an amazing throw to Djax. Had another touchdown and then a field goal, 17-0 right off the bat. and then he scores 3 points in 3 quarters because the worst defense in NFL history figured him out. And then what happened against the Redskins? 8 for 20, 72 yards through 3 quarters. And you could say all you want that they broke up the game. You can say all you want that he took the game. You can say it. But why didn't he do it in the first 3 quarters?
Oh my God.
Why didn't he bring that same energy that he brought against the Saints?
Nah, bro. He's a rookie. He's a rookie. What do you expect? You said the same argument with Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz was a number 2 overall pick. Jalen Hurts was an overdrafted second-round pick that got benched in college and had to transfer.
Carson Wentz. Never mind. Never mind. I'm not going to argue about this. I'm just tired about the Carson Wentz talk.
I'm done too. And I told you before the show. This is the last time we're talking about Carson Wentz on purpose. We can move on about it right now. I want to go to this point real quick though. Lamar Jackson is considered one of the best QB in the NFL, and I think Hurts already has better accuracy and pocket presence than Lamar. I think Lamar Jackson is a top 10 quarterback. I think he is. And I don't think Hurts is anywhere near him when it comes to throwing the football. Like we saw it against the Cowboys where he had passes in the second half where he needed to make and he didn't make them. And yes, he's a rookie. Yes, he had an awful roster around him. But the same people that are saying that are the same people that drove Carson Wentz out of town.
I just think we should just give Hurts a fair shot. Give him a full season. Just as you gave Carson Wentz a second season, a full season with a healthy team. I'm not going to say we're going to have a better team than that 2017 team, 2018 team, and because we're not defensively or offensively, but I think we just give him that chance. Give him that chance. I know you're saying you're not sold on him, or I know that you got to give him a chance at the end of the day. You give chances to all these other guys, you got to give him a chance.
Wentz got exposed in the second half of the Washington game. That was week 1 of the season. I was waiting for this comment to come up. And you could call it excuses all you want, but there's a difference between excuses and realistic actions that occurred in the game. Week 1, yes, 17-0. We're looking great. We're looking phenomenal. And then all of a sudden, Doug Peterson doesn't want to run the football. Now, the difference between what happened in Washington in week 1 and what happened against the Cowboys in week 16 is you had a whole halftime to understand that you were up 17-0. In the Cowboys game, Jalen Hurts turns the football over in the second quarter, and that all of a sudden just changes the whole perspective of the game, and he puts up 3 points against the worst defense in NFL history. And Carson Wentz against the Redskins is going up against.
A couple weeks ago, before that, Carson got bailed. He got bailed by the defense. That game against the Cowboys, he got bailed.
Who?
Carson Wentz got bailed. That Cowboys game.
I thought we were talking about Washington. I thought we were talking about Washington in week 1. You're just throwing up a whole bunch of games of 2020 that was a complete shit show for the whole team. And I'm trying to tell you that our franchise quarterback shouldn't have been the scapegoat.
I don't think Jalen Hurts should be the. I don't think a few games should be a deciding factor for you to say Jalen Hurts isn't the guy. That's all I'm feeling. Because you did admit to me that you were starstruck. You were starstruck at one point.
I was, because he was making phenomenal plays through 16 games.
But he wasn't flashiness. He showed you the flashiness.
What was Carson Wentz's record? What was Carson Wentz's record through 4 games of his rookie year? He was 3-1. 3-1.
Ended 7-9. Doesn't matter.
He was 3-1. Jalen Hurts was 1-3.
7-9. Look at the teams. Teams are way different.
Offensive line is healthy. That is a fair point.
Offensive line. Who the hell did we literally, dude? That last game against
Carson had the same roster. Carson had the same roster in 2020 as Jalen Hurts. And you know what? Deshaun Jackson came back for Jalen Hurts. I'm done arguing with this. I'm done.
Go, let's move from it. I'm done.
The Carson haters have a bigger obsession than I do. It's sad. No. Yes.
No.
Because they're saying all this shit that he ran away from us. No, he didn't run away from us. You chased him out of town. The same thing you're doing to Carter Hart. You're chasing Carter Hart out of town because he has a weak defense and he has no tough guys on the front freaking 12 forward line. None. We do this to our young guys. I'm calling it right now. Carter Hart is going to have a rough season this year. And we may get eliminated in the second round, and people are gonna run Carter Hart out of town. 22 years old. Did the same thing to Carson when he was 24 years old, because Nick Foles won us the Super Bowl, which I'm forever grateful for.
And they're tired of waiting. I feel like that's an issue that we have. We're tired of waiting for youth to develop. Carter Hart's a great. He was a great player. I mean, he's always been a really good player, and I feel like it's not fair to say that blah blah this, blah blah blah. His defense is atrocious, and we've been riddled with injuries. So he was doing fine, but I guess like against Boston, he doesn't do well against Boston. I think that's what it is. So
Joe, if Deshaun Watson comes here, he's running into the same situation that he had in Houston. It may be even worse. And Deshaun Watson won 4 games this year. So how would we be a playoff team? We got to be realistic about this and how we criticize certain quarterbacks. Deshaun Watson had 4 wins last year, right? Or 4 or 5? 4.
Yeah, he's talking about Washington. If Washington added Deshaun Watson.
Okay. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about if the Eagles went and got Deshaun Watson. That is my mistake. That is my
You were going on, guy.
My bad, Joe. I'm just saying. I'm just it's just I used to get so triggered in high school, dude.
You know what, guys? Jimmy's like that one dog in a pound that's went through a rough life, and as soon as you bring him out, he's growling, he's trying to bite you and stuff. Like he's had a bad past. Like with the Eagles, he has a bad past. I don't know.
Yeah, I have trouble with reading comprehension. It happened all throughout elementary school. It happened through middle school, and I failed my AP composition test. So thank you for pointing that out. I'm a little hurt on it, so you just hurt my self-esteem a little bit, but I'll be fine. I just said I'm sorry, so I read God. Eagles. I didn't read the whole thing. I'm just reading through all these comments. So I'm sorry. Wentz can beat the Eagles anytime and day. We are not good. Yeah, but we're Eagles fans first. I just want to point that out there right now. I am an Eagles fan. But it's okay to root for Carson Wentz because he brought us our first Super Bowl in our franchise history. No. He didn't win it. Nick Foles won it. Yeah. How's Nick Foles in the regular season? How we need some Daft Punk. Yeah. How we need something. How we need something.
Wow.
But my point is, my overall point is, and we're going to talk about the Sixers in 1 minute because it's been a hell of a roller coaster with the Sixers since we last talked. We did the live reaction of the game against Utah when Ben had his career high. This guy over here, my colleague, my partner in crime, my co-host, he was still talking shit on Ben Simmons all throughout the live I was going through it, and he ended up with a career high 42 points. And then he got sick for a little bit for 2 games, comes back and scores 28 points on about 73% shooting. And his role players sold out, and his fellow co-star sold out. Similar to what you do to me sometimes. I feel like I'm Ben Simmons, and I feel like you're Joel Embiid. I feel like a lot of people like you more, but in reality, they should really be liking me more.
Nah,
because I do all the dirty stuff that like needs to be done but doesn't get recognized.
Yeah, like the 1 point.
That's what Ben Simmons does.
Yeah,
like what?
The 1 point playoff games. So yeah. 1 point playoff game.
All right. Thank you for this comment, Joe. Thank you. We won't run Hart out of Philly. We don't treat our orange and black like we the other teams in the city.
That's fair enough. I agree to that.
I don't necessarily agree. We've been trying to run Claude Giroux out of town for how many playoff appearances now? And he's just not going. But we have our first goalie in how many years? It's very similar to the Carson Wentz situation.
Someone said he looked like Steve Mason.
Stop.
Someone said he looked like Steve Mason.
You know the one thing and the only thing I remember about Steve Mason? Yeah, I think it was 2017 playoffs.
Washington.
Where they just cleared the puck through the neutral zone and it happened to go right through Steve Mason's legs. What is that? What is that? You're comparing Steve Mason to Carter Hart? And you're saying that we treat the orange black different than the other three teams? God. You got people comparing Carter Hart to Steve Mason. Jesus.
Philly fans we're not the brightest. We're not the brightest.
No, we think we're smarter than what we actually are. And I'm an idiot. I'm just gonna get that right out of the way. I think I know about all this shit, but at the end of the day, I'm just like you guys. I don't know what I'm talking about. But at the end of the day, also, we don't know what we're talking about, and we're here. Howie Roseman, he doesn't know what he's talking about, and he's here, and he's running that freaking football team. I can't with the city. I can't with the media.
I'm working at the draft this year, so maybe I'll have to go. If Howie's there, I'm gonna have to go talk to him. I'm gonna have to go talk to him.
Thank God I won't be there because I might get arrested. If I ever saw.
He's gonna get a restraining order on you.
And another thing about the orange and black, we kind of do treat them like every other team. Jake Voracek doesn't freak out on a reporter for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that 3 weeks ago?
Philly media has done that to all teams,
all star players, and then they just don't want to be here.
I feel like it's rightfully so that when people want to run out Claude Giroux because he struggles in the playoffs at times. But I don't think we don't do them as hard as.
All right, Braden said
because not I could say in Philadelphia. If it's not the Phillies, it's them.
Well, you look at Braden Shen. Braden Shen had some memorable moments here as a young gun, and we got rid of him.
Yep.
I feel like he was a fan favorite, but I don't necessarily know what happened, but. You think he had a better time in St. Louis winning a ring rather than here?
Of course.
You don't think Claude Giroux would have had a much better time in, I don't know, freaking LA or San Jose than here? It's torture playing in this town.
It is.
I'm just trying to change the culture of not running our young guns out of town.
We want championships right away. That's literally, we talk about this every podcast. That Super Bowl win killed us as a city even more. That it killed our rep even more. Like it literally beat it. We are the dead horse, and the reputation it's just gone in Philly. Everybody hates Philly. Not many players want to play here unless they're rookies, unless they get drafted by us,
or they get paid.
And
9 times out of 10, when they get paid, they shit the bed.
Yeah, Robert Covington. Jake Arrieta. Oh my God! Don't even mention his name. I hate that guy. Papel bum. I heard he grabbed his crotch and he was like making fun of the fans and stuff. He hated Philly.
When Papelbon played for Washington, him and Harper got into it. That's why I love Bryce Harper.
Oh wow, yeah. See, people like Bryce, I feel like are fit for this team. I feel like people like Bryce, Jimmy Butler, just like those hard, gritty, like blue collar guys, like you're gonna get the tenacity out of them.
And I know that still talking about Jimmy Butler is beating a dead horse, but I don't really care. If we had Jimmy Butler still on the team rather than Tobias, we win that game last night, and I don't think it's even close. Because when it's late in the game, and I'll admit that Ben still has this fault, he can't create his own shot unless he's just putting his head down and going to the rim. And when it's late in the game and Joe's struggling and literally nobody else and Tobias is struggling and then nobody else is making a shot, that's when you need a guy like Jimmy Butler. Tobias is, I know he's having a career year right now. I don't trust him. And I know I got to keep the same energy of saying, oh, that is just a regular season game. Some of the games that they've lost over the last week or two has been because of a bench. And when the bench is playing like this, or when the role players are playing like this, it's tough. It's tough, dude.
And to be completely fair, like, of course, people would rather play in LA. Like, LA is definitely better than Philly. Like, I love Philly. Like I'd definitely rather play in somewhere like if I didn't like Philly, I've never been in Philly. I'd rather be in LA where it's nice and warm all the time. Just like it's just what you're into. If you want to win a championship, like you don't want to be a ring chaser at the same time like Boogie Cousins is about to be, but no one wants to play in Philly.
Yeah, and here I'm just speechless with this with our teams right now. It's the Eagles that are just killing me. It's the Sixers that just continuously they give me an ounce of hope and then they'll give me a gallon of just depression. It's the Flyers where there are a bunch of young guns on this team, and I've been saying it for a year now. They need to add a couple of grinders. They need to add a couple of people that aren't afraid to launch their body on the forecheck. They need to put a defense around Carter Hart, or we're going to run Carter Hart out of town. And guess what? The saddest part about what happened yesterday in Lake Tahoe was you had your whole defense with the exception of Braun. You had Hegg, you had Provorov, you had Sanheim, you had Phil, you had Gustafson, and you had Goss to spare. And then you had to put Friedman on the wing or whatever. You had 6 of your 7 defensemen, 6 of your out of your 7 normal. One of them usually sit out. But if you have 6 of your starters, why are you giving up 6 goals? I know a couple of them were gimmies that Carter should have saved.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you need to play better in front of him.
Hey, maybe he was just distracted from the beautiful views. I don't know. But yeah, I'm tired of the goals. Like that's never okay. So
forwards play. I understand that. I understand that forwards play defense too. I'm just pointing out that our whole starting defensive line was not COVID scratched, and we forgot to mention that Giroux was out, the Voracek was out, TK was out. All these guys were out, but you still had Farabee, you still had JVR, you still had Coots, you still had a lot of guys that I don't know. I was just expecting more. That's all I'm trying to say. You had 6/7 of your defense out there.
Yeah.
Bad things happen in Philadelphia.
I don't think people should be overreacting too much, but they just got to keep working on their defense. They got to find something out, and we have a good enough coach to make it work. We made it work last year. Why can't it work this year?
Yeah,
you didn't lose too much.
What's up, Ritz? Thank you.
What's up, Ritz? What's up, Greg?
All right, let's dive into the Sixers a little bit. We'll dive into the Sixers. That'll transition us into bringing up the poll question again. The poll of the day is the Eagles still have a shot at winning NFC East. What I'm trying to say is we don't have a shot because we drove away our franchise player. We're doing it to Carter Hart. We're in the process of doing it to Carter Hart, which I'm not a fan of. And people like my co-host are trying to drive Ben out of town too. We're trying to drive away our young stars because we expect so much from them. What is happening with the Sixers right now, Evan? What do you think needs to happen? What do you think the playoff roster is going to look like? How far do you think we'll go?
Sixers' problem right now is definitely their bench production. Their bench, I think the last 5 games have the bottom 5 worst production rate of any team right now. That's, of course, why Shake Milton's out. He's out with injury. I'm not sure if he's coming back anytime soon. He might be coming back in the next week. But I think his production it's coming out. And I don't know if we make moves. There was talks about a few players like Levine. I don't know that name. Levine.
What happened in the Bulls game?
Deal on the board. The Bulls.
He was 9 for 28 from the field.
Yep.
9 for 28 from the field. And he had 30 points?
Yeah.
Takes 28 shots to put up 30 points? No, thank you. No, thank you. I'd rather have JJ Redick than Zach LaVine.
No. I do think we need to put more Isaiah Joe. We need to put him in the mix, see what he has to offer. We didn't see. Give him a chance. It's like you said, it's the regular season. It's the The glorified preseason, as you said.
It is. But it's concerning that our role players are playing the way they are right now. Because
Did Shake play last game? Did Shake play?
Played last game.
He did?
And he struggled. And that could just be the return.
I watched just a little bit. So.
I have faith in Shake. I have faith in Shake that he could be a solid player coming off the bench. Joe, there are talks that Kyle Lowry may be coming here.
Yeah,
but it depends. It depends on what we give up. Because if they want to give either Maxey or Matisse, no, thank you. No, thank you. I don't want to give up any of our young guys.
Honestly, I don't. I'm not a reporter or anything. This is just speculation from me. I would think they'd want either Shake Milton first round pick, or Maxey first round pick, or Maxey Milton second round pick. I wouldn't say I really want to trade Thibault right now. Thibault's production on offense is so bad, which it can only get better from what he's already putting up on offense. But his defense is just so high that if he turns it on offensively, he could be a great
really good player.
You know, why would you sell him so low right now? I wouldn't sell him right now. He'd be so low. Because a lot of teams wanted him last year.
I'm just saying. I look at Matisse and I look at Maxey, and I don't want to get rid of him. And if that means that we got to buy out some players after the trade deadline, or we got to trade Korkmaz, Ferguson, and Mike Scott, bye. I'll meet you at the airport. I'll meet you at the. I'm so sick of.
He'll drive you there.
I'm so sick of him. I'll drive him there, and I won't even accept a tip. I don't want his money. He's such a bum.
His Turkish dollar.
I've been saying. How long have I been saying this about Furkan Korkmaz? We needed him last night. And it was against an average team. The Raptors are playing average this year. That's usually when Furky flourishes, and he's starting to freaking not show up against teams that he usually flourishes against. So what's gonna happen when we play the Celtics in 7? What's going to happen when we play the Bucks? What's going to happen when we play the Nets? Is he going to give us 2 minutes? Because that's what he gave us last night. He gave us 2 minutes. 0 for 2. 0 for 2 from 3. 2 minutes because he's struggling. I'm sick of the Furkan Korkmaz experience. Bye. Give me JJ Redick.
Wow. Isaiah Joe. This is a no Furk slander podcast.
Yes, it is. We do need a ball. I don't know if we need a ball handler. I don't know if we need a George Hill or Patty Mills. Because we got
to be a great addition. He has a great shot.
Yes, but when it's going to matter, Ben's going to be playing 42 to 45 minutes a game.
Nope.
So how many minutes is George Hill going to be playing? How many minutes is Patty Mills going to be playing?
Just a viable option off the bench if Simmons having a bad game, or
that's when Shake comes in. I trust in Shake. I don't know if I trust in Shake too much, but I trust in Shake. I think
we need a consistent 3-point shooter off the bench. And
that's not George Hill. That's not Patty Mills. That's JJ Redick. That's Delon Wright. That's I don't know. In a perfect world, Dante DiVincenzo. I don't know.
Celtics might not make the play. I think they will make the playoffs. The East is terrible this year. The Bucks have a 500 record, I think.
Yeah, they're like 6-0 against the Pistons and some other awful team.
Yeah,
and then the other teams, they're just
Hornets, and then they lose it. Yeah.
They're the Bucks. I said this a year and a half ago over one of our shows.
Giannis, and you win.
You shut down Giannis, and they have a bad shooting night. You win. That's why they'll never win. That is why they will never win a game.
And you know why they built that team a few years ago, or last year? That team was built to beat the Bucks.
Yeah.
But it wasn't built to beat the Celtics. It wasn't enough to beat the Raptors. It wasn't enough to beat the Pacers. It wasn't enough to beat any other team besides the Bucks. Because all that defense, you'll score. They'll literally be like a match from the 1950s. There's gonna be guys no one's gonna be shooting threes. They're just laying the ball up the whole time. You know what I mean? Like, that team was built to beat the Bucks, but it was not meant to beat any other team.
They sucked. They weren't meant to beat anybody, if we're being completely
honest. And the Bucks not overrated, but
they're overrated. It's okay. Don't be afraid to put out hot takes.
the Sixers are overrated, which they are.
You don't have to be afraid to put out hot takes, Ev. They suck.
Okay.
They're overrated. They're 6-0 against the Pistons and some other god-awful team, and then they're below 500 against every other team in the league.
That's the only issue. If I say they're overrated, we're overrated too.
How are we overrated?
They've made
number one in the East
every single year.
We're young.
Every single year.
We're young.
They're a young team.
Yes, but Giannis was put on this pedestal that he'd be the next GOAT.
No, I don't think so. Hell,
that's called being overrated. He was though. 2 straight MVP seasons. He'll never win another MVP in his career until he wins the finals. I'll just tell you that. Good one, Joe. Nah, in a perfect world, this roster needs a Jimmy Butler-like player to either start or come off the bench. I'm not saying we can get Jimmy Butler because that's impossible. We need a player like Jimmy Butler that can take over at the end of a game.
Dude, I'm telling you, like Drew Bledsoe would be a great addition on the
Eric
team.
Bledsoe?
Eric Bledsoe, dude.
Drew Bledsoe.
Not Eric Bledsoe. He's a dog.
Eric Bledsoe.
No.
Bledsoe.
Bledsoe. I'm just gonna say Bledsoe.
What the hell is his first name? Hang on. Take the wheel. I'm finding out his first name because it's driving me crazy right now.
Bledsoe would be a viable option. He daddied James Harden like last year, 2 years ago. What is it?
Bledsoe.
Eric Bledsoe.
Yeah,
wait,
Eric.
What did I say? Drew Bledsoe?
You said Drew, the football player.
Yeah. Tom Brady.
Yeah,
Tom Brady's friend. Yeah. I think he'd be a dog for the team. Like coming off the bench, if he was a cover James Harden.
So what? A package? Eric Bledsoe and JJ Redick?
For
I don't know. Furkan, T. Ferguson. And Mike Scott, and then a bunch of picks.
Maybe.
I take it. And then you could buy out Danny Green because he fucking sucks. I hate Danny Green, dude. You said he didn't really watch much last game. I don't know what you're doing, but Danny Green is just he sucks. He had 9 points and fouled out with 10 minutes left in the fourth.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just killing us. He was killing us defensively, and he was killing us on the offense because I just can tell whenever he shoots the ball, I know right away it's going to be a miss.
Mm-hmm.
It's always short. Literally, it's always short.
Mm-hmm.
You need to do more push-ups, dude.
And I think the recent struggles of Seth Curry has to be brought up into this. I think that's another reason why we struggled last game.
I said this in the beginning of the year. People were getting on me because he was having a career year, and I was telling people to pump the brakes because it's glorified preseason.
Yeah, I was never hyping him up like that because I knew once you hype up players like that, they always fall off. Unless you're Steph Curry or Seth Curry.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be hitting threes like that.
Fuck it. Let's trade for Steph. Seth for Steph, straight up. So Steph Curry on this team right now?
I'd be the best team in the NBA by far. By far.
One can wish, right? One can wish.
Healthy Klay Thompson on our team.
Would you take Jimmy over Tobias right now? Because No?
I don't trust him like that. I know we need a closer. I think
Tobias the Friendly Ghost is going to close. He had the opportunity to close last night, but your boy
he's different this year.
What the drought last night? The drought last night was no field goals in 7 minutes during the fourth.
Yeah.
You know what? Your boy had 4 straight possessions missing mid range.
Who's my boy?
Joel
Embiid.
Joe, and I love Joe, but I just need to go on this side of this perspective of things that it's time to start respecting Ben, because you can't win without both of them, and that's been proven time and time again, playoff after playoff. It's either Joe's out or it's either Ben's out.
I'm gonna say right now, I no longer want to trade Ben Simmons.
Bro, stick with your agenda, bro.
This is the only reason why. So there was like a report on Instagram. It was one of the stats that the Nets have. They have like the most ISO players, the most ISOs per game and stuff. I think that's another important thing we have to bring up. Like that's one of the keys to beat the Nets. If you have that ISO guy like KD, Ben Simmons, I don't even know who would be guarding Harden, honestly. Probably Danny Green, right?
Matisse. That's why you can't trade Matisse, because you need to go up against the Nets.
Yeah.
Like, if you put Matisse on Kyrie, you put Ben on KD, Tobias on James Harden?
Yeah. Something like that. But honestly, this team is built to beat anybody in the Eastern Conference.
Who, the Nets or the Sixers?
The Sixers.
They need consistency off the bench.
They do.
They need more than no. They need consistency off the bench.
2 players off the bench that can come out and have consistent, because those other players, they're not going to be playing.
Well, that's the thing. Danny Green and Seth Curry both can't be starting. They need somebody else to come here and start. And I don't care that they just lost their first game and however many times that they played together. I don't care. I really don't, because it's the regular season. I feel like a record on repeat. But Danny Green has proven to you that he doesn't show up. Danny Green is a glorified Furkan Korkmaz, in my opinion.
Defense.
Yeah,
he's better. He's
by far a better defender. Furkan, JJ Redick's a better defender than Furkan Korkmaz.
Corky takes those charges, man. That's beautiful.
Corky is a hate to face. Corky is a hate to face. Like, I look at his face and I hate it. And I'm sorry, Furkan.
Dude, that's Turkish delight. The Turkish delight.
Dude, if he came up when we needed him to come up, I wouldn't be doing this right now.
Oh, shout out Kyle Pitts for looking at my Instagram story. Come to Philly, please.
There's another one. There's another one that I don't want at 6.
No, we're trading.
We're not trading. You know we're drafting a quarterback.
Stop.
You know we're drafting.
Stop, bro.
With the 6th pick in the 2021 draft.
I'm sitting there. I'll probably.
The Philadelphia Eagles select Trey Lance, quarterback, North Dakota State.
Dude, I'll literally be crying though. I'll be sitting there just crying. I'll literally be crying. That would be so ridiculous if we actually end up doing that. Go Cowboys! Oh no, we got a Cowboys fan in here.
I'll get to that in a sec. No. Real basketball starts next week. All right. So you're more of a college basketball. I used to love college basketball. I still love college basketball. I just think with the combination of the NCAA becoming greedy bastards and people finally exposing them for it, and the combination of COVID and the combination of the cancellation of last year, I think college basketball will never be the same. I was just watching 2017 highlights. I was actually watching the game. Oregon versus North Carolina in that crazy Final Four game. College basketball, I used to love it. I used to love March Madness. I probably still will, but there's just something about the fans. Yeah. The fans are a huge part in college basketball. Yeah. And
a lot of people don't get that. And that's like the most, like, I was watching this one YouTube video. It was just like the last minute, like, threes being hit in the championship and stuff. When Villanova hit that, like, that's insanity. I always wanted to go to a Big Four game or like Final Four game, and that would be amazing. Because college kids are just nuts. Like, I'm in college, Jamie, we're in college. Like, we know how college kids are. They're probably pre-gaming before the game, getting drunk, and they'll do anything during the game to get the
for legal reasons. For legal reasons, everybody's 21.
Yep.
I just can't wait from a year or two from now when sports are back to normal, where we can fill up arenas, and then maybe college basketball will go back to its ways. Maybe the NCAA will fix themselves financially, and hopefully we'll be able to go back to that stuff. But right now I'm leaning NBA just because the Sixers are exciting and we have a legitimate shot this year.
Yep.
Patrick Taylor. What are you doing here, bud?
You found the wrong
like this is why Cowboy fans, they never fail to disappoint me. Because no matter what happens, they're always there to give you a chuckle.
Yeah.
You guys used to get to me, especially in high school, where you'd throw in the 5 rings, blah, blah, 6 rings, however many freaking rings you have. It's just Carson Wentz has had 3 fantabulous seasons as an Eagles starter. And you guys have had the same amount of playoff wins since 1996 that Carson Wentz has had great seasons. Just think about that, bud.
Yeah. Food for thought. Pop out like Roach.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just they caught me off guard, Matt.
Yeah, as long as you like our video, I appreciate it.
Yeah, give us a like, bro.
Give us a like. Give us a like right now.
But the Sixers have who do the Sixers have tomorrow? They play tomorrow, 7:00.
They're home, right?
Yeah, I believe so. The Flyers also play. The Flyers play Wednesday again.
Mhm.
Flyers play Wednesday at home against the Rangers. Oh, it's a second half of a back-to-back with the Raptors.
Okay.
Tomorrow 7:30.
We could still break the streak. I really hope. Really hope we can. What is it, like 17 game losing streak away against Toronto?
And they're not even in Canada.
They're not. They're literally in what?
They're in Tampa.
Tampa?
Yeah. Tampa. I hate Tampa. I really do.
Yeah. They're literally that was Champa. All right, Champa, dude. They had a great year of sport this year. Great year.
I was -4 years old the last time the Cowboys made it to an NFC Championship game. And what happened to your quarterback?
Carson just got replaced.
What happened to your quarterback?
Dak just got something replacing his legs, so
That's not nice. I'm genuinely asking, who's your quarterback now? Are you sticking with Dak, or are you going someplace else?
I think Ben DiNucci had a pretty good year. I don't know.
You know what's gonna happen? They're gonna either trade. They're gonna try their best to try and get either Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson, and they'll find some way somehow to F it up with that offense. With either one of those quarterbacks, they'll mess it up because they're the Cowboys. And as long as Jerry Jones is running the Cowboys, you guys aren't winning anything. Just like as long as Howie Roseman is building our roster, we're not winning anything. So I don't understand why you're here just trolling us. And the famous word of our guy Tom, what the fuck are you talking about?
Oh my god, dude, that's so funny.
As far as the draft, I could see us moving back to 15 to try and grab Surtain or Waddle and gating a second round. I like that idea. I do. I do. But I don't think Howie's going to do that. No. I genuinely think Howie's going to fall in love with one of these quarterbacks, or he's already fallen in love with one of these quarterbacks, and he's going to do everything he can to draft one of those quarterbacks.
Yeah.
What in recent history has showed you that he is going to do something smart, like trade back to 15 and grab a Surtain or grab a Waddle and get more picks? And even if he does do that, do you trust him with choosing the right players with the picks that he gets back?
No.
You can't. You can't trust him.
Yeah. That's why I'm scared, dude. I'm scared for this draft. I actually watched the draft live like last year when the Hurts pick. And all I heard my dad was like, "What the fuck is this?" He was like, dude, I was so confused. I was like,
I was hurt. I was no pun intended. I was in pain.
I didn't hate it. You hated it. I didn't hate it. I was like, okay, like if Wentz went down like you did the 3 seasons before that, 2 seasons before that, we'd have an option coming off the bench. But then he ended up taking the spot. So
I just don't understand how you could have liked that pick. How anybody could have liked that pick. I
didn't like it, but I didn't hate it.
The stupidest, worst pick in NFL history, and that's nothing against Jalen Hurts. Nothing. I think he's a competitor. I think, given the right situation, he can have a solid NFL career. But this is not right. This is not the right situation for him to be in right now. Quarterbacks like that need a solid offensive line. They need a organization that'll be willing to cater to him, to what he does best. And what has this organization done to show you that they will do that for Jalen Hurts?
Nothing.
Like Matt just said, we're a quarterback factory. They're falling in love with Zach Wilson right now, and they're doing everything they can to move up to 2 to draft Zach Wilson. Those picks that we just got for Wentz, they're going to be gone. You know why? Because we're trading up to 2 to get Zach Wilson. Put it on the record. We'll go back to this.
No way. No way. That's insane. We're not drafting Drew Lock 2.0.
I respectfully disagree. I respectfully disagree, Joe. I respectfully disagree. Because Howie Roseman has done – Howie Roseman traded up to get Andre Dillard. Howie Roseman drafted Derek Barnett. Howie Roseman drafted J.J. Arcega-Whiteside over DK Metcalf. Howie drafted Davion Taylor, a project linebacker, in the 3rd round, when he could have used that 3rd-round pick to get depth on your offensive line, to get another receiver. Howie Roseman drafted Jalen Hurts in the 2nd round when he could have put depth on the offensive line, when he could have drafted a Denzel Mims. Don't blame this on Chip. Don't bring Chip into this.
Yeah, you're a Chip lover, dude.
Honestly, without Chip, we don't win that Super Bowl.
We don't win a chip without Chip.
We don't. We don't.
Damn.
If this same situation happened with Carson Wentz and we didn't have Hurts, we might have been in a worse spot. I couldn't disagree with you more, Jake. How? Because if we didn't have Hurts, there wouldn't be any quarterback controversy, and Carson Wentz wouldn't have been all up in his feelings. And Carson Wentz does have a little bit to blame because he did get into his feelings. He should have been a little bit more professional, but he's a 5th-year quarterback. Tom Brady told Bill Belichick to trade away Jacoby Brissett and trade away Jimmy Garoppolo because they went 3-1. Because they went 3-1 when Tom Brady got suspended for deflating footballs. And Tom was like, "Yeah, I can't have any quarterback controversy around me. Get him out of here. I want out." What's the difference between that and what a 5th-year quarterback did when you drafted a 2nd-round quarterback after your franchise quarterback just drug you to the playoffs? I don't understand some people's football knowledge. I question it. I question it. I questioned your football knowledge when you kept on getting on me a couple years ago. So I invited you.
I still got I got the receipts and the DMs, dude. Wow.
I don't know what that means.
Center.
Davion Taylor's a linebacker. Never mind. What's up, Don?
What's up, Don?
Lions.
Sir.
Lions should be interesting. We'll see what Jared Goff does. We'll see what you do with the 7,000 draft picks you just got from the Rams. They should be an interesting team. Kenny Golladay. If we didn't trade away Wentz and went $34 million into dead cap space, maybe you could have kept Wentz and signed a Kenny Golladay. And we wouldn't be set back for the next 3 to 5 years. Allen Robinson. Now we have no shot at that because everybody wanted Wentz to be gone, and now we're in a $35 million dead cap.
Yeah, why not? Oh, wow.
After the situation with Foles, number 11 was going to be gone eventually. He never was going to work here. After the Super Bowl, Hurts was just the nail in the coffin. Yes, but here's my point. My point is the Eagles have no idea what the fuck they're doing. They don't. Because when they drafted Hurts, they said he was Russell Wilson. If you thought he was Russell Wilson, you should have traded Wentz that night. You would have got more out of him, and you would have had Russell Wilson right in your hands.
But the fans would have been already – dude, the fans – you can't really say he cares about the fans too much because he did draft JJ over DK, but I don't know. They wanted him to develop. I don't know if they wanted him to develop under Wentz. I can agree where you thought this was the worst pick in history. It was probably just the most confusing in history. Because
and I'm not saying it about the player. I'm saying it about the legitimate
I know what you're talking about.
The situation.
I know what you're talking about. But yeah, like we said, do you think that we'd be in a better spot if obviously we wouldn't have traded Wentz, but if the off chance we did trade Wentz and we didn't have Hurts, what would we do from here? We just draft a quarterback?
No, because
you'd be in that situation.
If you didn't have Hurts, you would have just had Wentz play out the season. You would have just had Wentz play out the season, and you would have tried to rebuild the roster around him.
I don't think they were so tired of him. They were tired of him. I think they just wanted him out of town. They wanted him out of town.
Who's they?
Howie wanted Lori wanted him out. Dude, I was.
They're not committed to either one of them. But if Hurts wasn't here, I think we possibly win the division.
Bring back Nick. You love
Jesus
that.
Christ.
You love that.
Calvin knows what I'm saying. He's not a good quarterback. He's not a good quarterback. Yeah. I'll place bets. I'll place bets right now. I'll place bets right now that Carson Wentz makes it to the NFC Championship game and we finish last place in the NFC East. What's the parlay for that? Will I cash out on that if I actually put that down?
Dude, he will not. I don't think they'll make it to the
Bro, I already put down my bet. I already put down my bet. 5 minutes after the trade, I bet the Colts.
Dude, I don't think
in the Super Bowl.
I don't think he'll. That's gonna be tough for them to get to the AFC.
How? You got a top 5 defense.
Dude, their wide receivers aren't that great. They have a good run game, but their wide receivers aren't that great.
But our wide receivers weren't that great on paper in 2017 either. Carson Wentz made them great.
But we had the same players besides Alshon Jeffrey in 2017 or 2016.
Nelson Aguilar was our number 1 receiver. We didn't have a deep threat. This is another thing. We didn't have a deep threat this year. Elite quarterbacks need deep threats to succeed. Like all these people running Wentz out of town, he hasn't had a deep threat since Torrey Smith when he won the Super Bowl. I'm sorry, when Nick Foles won the Super Bowl. Don't let anybody's panties up in a bunch.
Trade Cox? Would you trade Cox?
No. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing with this team. I really don't.
We could go into like a rebuild like Miami. Miami did pretty well with the 1-year rebuild they had, 2-year rebuild.
Yeah, but they were average for how many years? And then they went into a rebuild for a year, and then
they got processed.
They also brought in a great culture. Mm-hmm. The football culture in that locker room right now is insane with their new head coach that they hired 2 years ago from New England. His name's slipping my mind right now. But the shift in that locker room really showed, and they're ahead for some good years. They have draft picks, and they have a right amount of youth, and they have the right amount of veterans on that squad. And that's something that I wish we could have, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen unless we do draft one of these quarterbacks, and they end up being what Pat Mahomes is. We have no shot this year. We have no shot.
Yeah.
Second worst pick was Howie, trying to be smarter than everyone. Yeah. It's just Matt. I appreciate that. We try and keep it real. There's we don't try and bullshit. There comes to a certain point where I know that Carson played like shit, and I've said that, but I just feel like the surrounding circumstances around it was more glaring than him just playing like shit. That's just Calvin out here is basically going to be Howie. That's exactly what Jeffrey and Howie's conversation is right now, bro. We should just draft Justin Fields or Zach. It's exactly what the conversation between the two of them are. They're literally Dumb and Dumber. They are. Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie are Dumb and Dumber.
Mm-hmm. You hear I heard this from Joseph, and I heard it before. What do you think about like the Kelsey situation? Think he'll be back next year?
I don't know. I wouldn't want to come back here if I was Kelsey. I would not want to. Well, I don't know how.
He has a daughter. He has a daughter. I definitely not, especially with a kid. There's no way in hell I'm wasting a whole year getting hurt. Dude gets hurt every year, but he still plays. One of the most tough players.
Flores, thank you, Aiden. That's what I was looking for.
Flores? Is that it?
Yeah, Brian Flores. But I want to go to this. The Colts don't need to go 7-9. Carson just needs to play 75% of the snaps. It's okay to cheer for both. It is okay. The only circumstance in which I'm not cheering for Carson Wentz is if it directly hurts the Eagles. Whether it's Eagles and Colts in Super Bowl 55, or it's we need the Colts to lose a game for the Eagles to make the playoffs. So that's the only time I'm not cheering for Wentz. It's okay. It's not a crime.
If anything, if Wentz develops, that's the only not develops, but has a good year, then that's just another reason why Howie would get shit canned.
I would love that.
The better the Colts do, that's what I feel like what's going to happen.
But Jeff is never going to fire Howie.
I know.
What else does the dude need
They're
to
out there
not do?
touching each other and like, come on, just fire him already. Stop kissing.
Well, here's the thing. The culture of this show has changed just a complete 180 from 6 weeks ago to now. Because 6 weeks ago we were talking about how there's some optimism going into next season. You got the offensive line coming back. You got Carson coming back. Maybe you draft a wide receiver, get a few pieces on defense, and then we could win a shitty division again. Right now, we don't know who our quarterback's going to be.
No.
We're talking about trading away Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Jason Kelsey, Brandon Brooks, Lane Johnson. You still have all these guys that if they were to come back, you still had a competent team. You just needed to put the right weapons around your quarterback. And instead, you just wanted to blow everything up, which, fine. Go ahead. Let us be the Jets for the next 10 years. I'll be laughing. I'll be crying. I'll be laughing on the outside, but deep inside, I'll be crying.
Yeah.
Because the Eagles are my life. I love the Eagles. But, yeah, Dom, they're going to be bad. Dude. I can't tell.
Don't stop, Jimmy. I already know what you're going to say. It's all right.
Like, is that just a troll or is he serious? Lambo, are you serious?
Don't get Jimmy in his feelings. Don't get Jimmy in his feelings.
Okay, I understand, Joe. Yeah. So Carson could play 75% of the snaps, and they could go 0-16, and we could get the first pick. Is that true, or is there something apart? I don't know the exact condition of the second round pick. I'm sure that's in there that if so and so happens, you won't be getting a top 10 pick.
I thought they have to win their division or something like that. I thought it was that they have to be 7-9, and he has to play 75% of the snaps.
Okay, yeah. So they'd be getting best case scenario. They'd be getting what, the 16th pick,
something like that. So that'd be.
But what's the difference between Howie Roseman picking the 16th pick and the 25th pick, or the 27th pick?
Nothing.
Because you traded up in the first round to get Andre Dillard. You drafted Derek Barnett at 14. That's what I'm saying. Maybe if there's a new GM picking the picks, but it's okay for me to cheer for Carson Wentz.
All I am doing is fantasizing the day that Carson Wentz comes back to Philly and we're playing the Colts. And wow. Just think about that. What would you think? What would you think about that, Jimmy?
What was the question? I'm sorry. I was reading one of the comments.
No, that's all right. The day that Wentz comes back, plays Philly at
2 seasons. It won't be this season coming up. It'll be the following season.
Wow.
I'm either flying to Indy or I'm going to the link. I hope it's at the link.
Dude, we're going to be reporting on it. Don't matter.
I'm stoked for when Carson, whether he's in another jersey than the Colts, I can't wait for Carson to come back to the link. I can't wait to see, because I honestly do feel like the majority of Eagles fans are competent.
Yeah, they're
appreciative.
Yeah, it's gonna be like the Chase Utley return. It's gonna be like every other return, I think. Like they'll cheer for him, but if he throws a fucking touchdown, they're gonna be pissed.
I mean, that one Chase Utley return was crazy because Chase Utley beat us when we were in playoff contention for the first time in 8-9 years, and we were cheering that he just beat us. And hurt our chances at going into the playoffs.
It was actually funny. I was at one of the Dodgers games, and he hit like a grand slam, and I'm just like, why do we cheer for him? Stupid how 2-3
look, I've always been an optimist about the Eagles. But I just don't see how this is going to work. I really don't. The Eagles will not make the playoffs this year. I strongly disagree with the poll. I think a lot of people will disagree with the poll. Next week we're going to have a very interesting poll. I have one up my sleeve. We will announce that obviously next week on the show. But I don't see any situation pending a Zach Wilson if we were to get him, pending a Trey Lance if we get him, pending them throwing the ball like Patrick Mahomes,
we're
not making the playoffs. We're not winning the NFC East.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I'm really like 50-50 on it. I think there's a chance, but it's not a chance like we had last year coming into the season with healthy players. Obviously, we were probably the favorites, but yeah, I'm not too sold on any of them.
Yeah.
So it's or.
Yeah. There is no stipulation. So, so what? Are we cheering for them to go 0-16?
I mean, just to get a better draft pick, I guess. Like,
I still wouldn't trust Howie drafting number 1 overall.
It'd
be like the Sixers drafting Markelle Fultz instead of or trading up to draft Markelle Fultz instead of Jason Tatum.
Oh my God, don't even remind me of that. That was probably the worst day of my life when he got not traded, when you just saw him.
I like this comparison, John. There were a lot of Broncos number 20 jerseys. Really, and I love B-Dawk. Brian Dawkins was my first jersey ever when I was 5 years old. Why isn't the same with Carson when Carson was the one that brought us a ring? Brian Dawkins never brought us a ring, and I respect everything Dawkins did. But they never won a championship game.
Yeah.
Without Carson Wentz, we don't win a Super Bowl. So why can't I get one of his jerseys? But without people just coming at me.
Do you want to do predictions for the Eagles games next year? We still got a little bit more time, so.
Well, we could go from here. We could go off the question. The question to end the show: will the Eagles have a shot at winning the NFC East? Agree or disagree? I strongly disagree. I think they're going to finish last in the NFC East. I don't think it's going to be even close, and I think we're going to have a top 5 draft pick next year.
I think the Eagles miss out on a playoff spot. I think they're going to be third or fourth. I think they'll have a six win season. They'll be a little bit better than this year, but they'll try at the beginning to just because I mean, if they were to make the playoffs, like, I don't know how our fans would react. I feel like some of our fans would be ecstatic, and some of our fans would be like, "Wow, you just got us a first round exit."
Yeah. Well,
so it's really, what do you want to do? You want to make the playoffs, or do you want to be a first round exit, or do you want to have a top 10 pick? So.
Dawkins has been here for many years, though, and is an Eagles Hall of Fame. Wentz was here for half the time. Yes, he helped bring a ring, but it's not the same. Do we care about memories? Do we care about almost winning a Super Bowl? Do we care about NFC Championship games, or do we care about Super Bowls? Because if we don't draft Carson Wentz, we don't win a Super Bowl. So I think it is the same. And sadly, Carson Wentz won't be remembered like that, which is depressing to think about, because he had the best single season performance by a quarterback in franchise history, and he just gets thrown out. He gets thrown out by maybe 40% of the fan base. He gets thrown out by 90% of the local media, and the teammates turn against him. So,
question right before we end. We kind of didn't really answer the full question for the Sixers. Are you still expecting finals or bust? What do you think?
Yeah, I went into the season Eastern Conference Finals or bust. When they showed up early in the beginning of the season, I was still up on the Eastern Conference Finals or bust, just because I didn't know what the Bucks were, I didn't know what the Celtics were, and I didn't know what the Nets were going to do. I still think it's Eastern Conference Finals or bust. I still think they're really young, and I think that we should not overreact if something weird happens and we lose in 6 in the Eastern Conference. It's not time to trade Ben or Joe.
Yeah.
You have both of them under contract. Please let them play it out this year. Hopefully this is the first year that they will be able to both play in the playoffs at the same time, and we'll see what happens from there. So, what do you think?
I agree. I think that I'm just
wait. Let me put a follow-up before you answer that. So
Say something. Don't say anything.
I'm just asking a question. If we lose Eastern Conference Finals in 6 to the Nets and Ben doesn't have a great offensive performance in those 6 games, you won't come onto the show and say, "Oh, it's time to trade Ben for Bradley Beal. I told you we need a scorer." Blah 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 blah. You're not going to be saying that.
I mean, if he scored 1 point, Jimmy.
Oh my God! There you go with the 1 point.
Jimmy, what if he actually scored 1 point again?
Your boy Furkan Korkmaz, who is supposed to be one of our best bench players, played 2 minutes last night and was 0 for 2 from 3.
0 for 2. Ben Simmons was like 0 for 11 in that game that we played. He had 1 free throw and he missed.
And guess what? That was against the Nets, right? Did we or did we not win that series? Did he or did he not come back and drop a 30 piece?
That was against Boston.
Oh, okay. It was against Boston.
When we got what?
Lost in 5.
3-1? No, 4-1.
4-1.
Yep. I remember because I went to the it's actually kind of funny. That day that this was a couple years ago, but I went to one of the Wentz Jesus preaching shows or whatever, and it was at Atlantic Christian.
Yeah.
And I went, and then I watched it. That was just like a day I remember so vividly when we got abs. It was like the first game of that series.
Was it the season when we had Bellinelli and Ersan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the one thing that happened where Brooklyn put on missing signs of Ben Simmons? Do you remember that? When they were posting posters on
thing. That was the whole Jared Dudley thing. Oh wait, no, that was the Jared Dudley thing. No, that was the year that we played the Raptors.
Yeah,
but the year before
wasn't that because Ben was having a terrible game, and then the very next day after the missing signs came up, he dropped a 30 piece.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but you don't want to mention that, but you want to mention when he was in his first year.
I don't want to mention
when he was in his first year when he was 21 years old.
I didn't want to mention them beating the last team in the East at that point. The Nets that had Karis LeVert as a rookie and had Jared Allen as a rookie.
So what was the difference between Ben Simmons being a rookie? This is what I'm saying. We put too much on our young players when they don't go out and play exceptional to our.
No, that was his rookie year.
Yes, it was.
No, he didn't play his rookie. Okay.
His rookie year, they made it to the playoffs the first year. Guess what happened in Joe's rookie year? We didn't make the playoffs.
That doesn't matter like that.
You're making me go against Joel Embiid, and I love Joel Embiid. But it's time to stop hating on Ben Simmons.
Joel Embiid had a 0-point game in there and is averaging 30. Did he?
I don't know.
He had a 0-point game? Is that because he went out for injury or I don't know.
I'd rather go 2-15 and get. Dude, if we go 0-16 or 0-17, if there's going to be an extra game, Howie still won't get fired. If he was going to get fired, he would have been fired this year after this whole fiasco. Ever since we won the Super Bowl, it's been just a complete shit show.
And again, I don't want people to glorify Howie if he has a good draft because he did have a good draft last year, we thought. He didn't.
I don't think
it looked fine on paper, but no. Well, the later rounds. The later rounds. But he does have help though this year. He does have help from
his owner that knows nothing about football.
No, the Browns guy, isn't it?
Oh yeah, they did.
Yeah.
But
Lowry.
Laurie is starting to put his nose into shit, and nothing's going to change until they need to hire an Elaine Vigneault type guy, a Doc Rivers type guy, a Daryl Morey type guy, a Joe Girardi type guy to come in and fix this organization.
Mm-hmm.
They need to come in and hire what Jacksonville just did. They need to hire an Urban Meyer type guy to come in. They need a new shift in the culture. They need new authority. They just need new everything. That is the only way we're going to be able to fix this.
I just hope that if we're ever hired, I mean, we're not going to hire anyone like a head coach or anything anytime soon, I don't think. But just I stay away from the college, man. I don't know about the college. Ever since
Did you hear that?
No.
That's what I've been saying all show. We drove away Carson because of haters. We're in the process of driving away Carter Hart because of haters. It's time to stop hating on our youth.
Dude, Ben doesn't even want to be in Philly.
I know you're saying.
Ben doesn't even want to be in Philly. In my opinion.
I know you're just saying that to troll.
I feel like he low key doesn't want to be in Philly. Low key. He wants to be in LA with the Jenners, dude. I'm telling you. I know they broke up, but he's obsessed. But no, Ben Simmons, we've seen so much from him. I remember we had a decent podcast like a couple of months ago when we first talked about this, when we like kind of first started. Mans does not shoot threes, and that hurts. If you had imagine if we had a point guard who can shoot threes on a consistent level.
Imagine we had a point guard that can do everything but shoot.
Damian Lillard.
But he can do everything but shoot.
Who?
Ben.
No.
The only thing he can't do is shoot the basketball.
He doesn't space. He has no space.
He creates space. No, I take Ben Simmons at fucking quarterback over Jalen Hurts.
All right, bro. You want me to show you what Ben Simmons does?
Oh, here we go.
Dude, all right, so comes in the top of the key, he's dribbling up, then he passes. He just jumps up and passes back. He goes like this. He goes like I don't know what the hell that is. That doesn't.
So how did he score 42 points last week from this night, and then 28 points last week last night?
Great job, Ben. Do it in the playoffs, dude. Do it in the playoffs, and I'll be happy. I'll cut all the slander. I'll cut all the Ben slander if he was to score more than 30 points in a playoff game.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Against a good team, not the Hornets when we play the Hornets.
Oh my gosh! You just keep on adding on to the freaking you're like this. Yo, can you make me a chocolate cake? And I'm like, yeah, sure, Ev. Can you add sprinkles on it? Yeah, sure, Ev. Can you add like a hot fudge on it? Yeah, sure. You just keep on adding all this shit. Like put your request out and then
all right, yeah. But no, that's what it is though. Against a good playoff team in the clutch.
All right, so stop bashing them in the regular season then.
I mean, I haven't seen anything different from the regular season to playoffs. That's the same Ben Simmons. I don't see anything different.
Been kicking up over the last 2 weeks. It hasn't just been the 42-point performance and the 28 performance last week. He was doing this last year before the break, too, before the COVID break. Nothing's changed. He got hurt in the bubble.
Sold.
He got hurt in the bubble, and he's finally coming back.
Jim, you can tell me all
right where he had last year in February.
Jimmy, you can tell me all this, man. I am not sold on your boy Ben. I'm not.
But you're sold on Joe. You're sold on Joe that he won't have to sit out in Game 3 of the Eastern Conference semifinals.
At the end of the day, who's the one who missed a playoff series? Has Joel Embiid missed a playoff series? No.
He missed the critical games against the Raptors when we lost in 7 because he had diarrhea because he couldn't stop eating fucking Chick-fil-A. He literally had to sit out in a crucial playoff game that we lost against Toronto because he had diarrhea. I'm sorry. Gastro. Blah, 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 blah.
Ben missed the whole playoff series against Boston. We got swept.
Because his shoulder was shot. And it was the bubble. We all know the bubble was fake.
People don't like when you say that.
What? I'm just saying, Ben by himself never got swept. Joe by himself did get swept.
All right, the problem with that. The problem with that, Jimmy,
what?
The problem with that, when Ben Simmons, when they have this argument, these Ben lovers have this argument where they say, "Oh, Ben Simmons' record was 34-34 with blah blah blah." Okay, but Simmons' record was really good because he had Al Horford. He had Al Horford, who was the center, and Joel Embiid had respect to TJ. He had TJ McConnell as the starting point.
Now we're doing TJ McConnell slander.
I'm not. I love TJ. I met the guy. I love him. We're the same height. I love this guy. But you can't compare that. Al Horford was a starting center.
You're making me compare this because you're putting out Ben slander. I'm just coming back at you with facts.
Bro. No.
And then you say I'm putting excuses. You're giving every excuse in the book for what happened.
Get to the playoffs.
Let me just put this on the record before people
when Ben gets exposed again, just wait.
How is he going to get exposed when he's going to be the best? All right, trade him. Trade him for fucking Zach LaVine, and then who's going to guard Kevin Durant?
I don't want him for Zach LaVine.
Who do you want?
Give me Bradley Beal, baby.
They're not going to give you Bradley Beal because they already have Russell Westbrook. So who do you want? And even when we get Bradley Beal, who the fuck's guarding Kevin Durant? Tobias, the friendly ghost?
Go ahead. Go ahead. Why not?
Josh, I don't know who you're talking about, but you're definitely talking about Evan.
Hell no, bro. No.
What's up, Tom?
Yo, Tom.
Tom, I quoted you earlier in the day because
what the fuck? Yeah, that's so legendary.
Sixers might need to win chips to convince Ben to stay by the end of his contract. Embiid will be 30. I think Embiid will be a Sixer for life. Evan brings up an interesting point about how he thinks Ben will be gone. I don't think he'll be gone, but if either of the two were to walk, it would probably be Embiid. I'm sorry, it'll probably be Ben. Okay. I think Embiid's going to be a Sixer for life.
Yeah.
But I don't think Ben hates Philly. I think Ben likes it here.
I don't think he hates Philly. I just think he'd rather be something like he didn't come out and say this, but I just think Ben's personality doesn't fit the Philly. You know, he's just too pretty for us. He's too pretty for us.
Answer this from Matt. I think Ben has found his inner alpha. He's looking to dominate. He's a top 3 defender, maybe a top 2 defender, and he's shooting 80% from the line over the last month. What do you want from the man? LOL. You want him to show up in the playoffs?
Dude, no. For real. Like this dude claimed he was the best defender in the league, and the thing that pissed me off the most, his ego's so stupid. He's like, oh, they put Rudy Gobert on me. They put Rudy Gobert on me, who's I'm not going to say he's a better defender right now, but he's literally like a 2-time All-NBA defender, and I just think that egotistical is like Ben's ego is kind of stupid. I don't know. No.
So you hate him because of his ego? Because a 23-year-old has an ego.
A
23-year-old that's making a
prime. Do you think Joel Embiid right now is in his prime?
He's entering it.
He's in his prime right now.
He's entering his prime. He's 26 years old.
This is the best he's not maybe the best he's ever going to be, but he's playing at
his best level, but I still think he has more. I still think Joe has more because Joe in his prime won't be sitting out every other game.
I mean, he's only getting older as we go.
Yeah.
He is only getting older as we go, and I'll agree with you. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that he comes in almost every year coming in out of shape. This year was kind of different. He had a little bit of a chip on his shoulder and something that we really needed. But just because Ben had a few 20-point games, actually, he should be scoring every game.
Thank you. Jake says it best. His prime is coming in the next 2 years. I'm telling you, guys
if you don't pair him with someone like Damian Lillard before his prime ends, what the hell?
Why? This is what I'm saying. Our first ever Instagram post on the Flight at Flight Zone Instagram. I explained how Elton Brand built this roster terribly, and this was not this year, last year, with Al Horford, Tobias.
Was this on Spotify?
Josh, yeah.
Okay.
Josh Richardson and Embiid. I told you. They built this roster awful because you need 3 shooters around these guys, around Ben and Joe, that can play legit defense. That is what you need around Ben and Joe.
That's a lot. That's a lot to want. A 3-point shooter and they can defend. That's a lot to ask nowadays.
I said competent. It's not that hard to find a 3-and-D.
I think what it called. I think the Sixers roster right now is perfect for this team. Like you can't get any other players that. Like who would you add?
Well,
I would have this like.
Well, first of all, you could have gotten away with having Ben and Joe, having a closer, and then having 2 shooters. Because if you would have kept Jimmy and JJ, fired Brett, and then let Tobias walk and never sign Al, we'd be in a great situation right now. We would be in a great situation right now. Because then if you had those 4 guys, Ben, JJ, Jimmy, Embiid, and then have another guy that can guard the 3 and the 4 that can shoot the ball a little bit, like a guy on the Jazz, the defensive specialist that just Royce O'Neal. If you had a guy like that, there's plenty of Royce O'Neals in the leagues that you could assign to fill in for Tobias Harris if you still had Jimmy Butler. Elton Brand and Brett Brown destroyed this roster. They destroyed it. And I think we're gonna pay. I think we're gonna pay for it in the Eastern Conference Finals. I think we're gonna pay for it.
The drafting.
Seth and Danny are gonna kill us in the playoffs. They're not gonna show up, and then the media is gonna blame it on Ben, or they're gonna blame it on Joe. But the role players are gonna blow it for us, and that's why we need to address it fast.
Mm.
We need to get a Delon Wright. We need to maybe try and get a Kyle Lowry, depending on what it'll cost. But you need something because the current players around Ben and Joe, we can't put all the faith in the world in them just because they had a hot start.
Yeah.
So Ben going to the Lakers when LeBron retires.
I can see it happening.
I'm scared to death for that to happen.
With Rich Paul.
What?
The Rich Paul comment, Jacob. I agree with that. That the biggest markets possible. I think that's really what it is. It's Ben Simmons, LeBron. Who else is in there with them? They all want the biggest markets possible. Philly, we're a big market, but we're not an LA or a Boston.
We're a top 10 market.
Top 10 market, but they want a top 2 market.
Well, you got what? You got LA. You got both LAs. You got Golden State. You got Houston. You got Miami. You got Boston.
That's the reason why LeBron did not come to Philly. LeBron could have won a ring in Philly. Am I right? Yeah. You would have had Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, LeBron, and it doesn't matter after that. That would have been the best team. But he didn't. He wanted to go to LA, and the LA team wasn't no good. Like, they came off a season where I don't even think LeBron played that did LeBron even play that first season? He got hurt, right?
Yeah.
And
first season in LA, right?
Kyle Kuzma was their best player that year. And
they missed the playoffs. It was the first time in LeBron's career that he missed the playoffs, I believe. Or the first time in a decade that he missed it.
He could have easily won a ring with Philly, but he didn't, because that's how Rich Paul does his business.
That's what's going to happen if we don't upgrade our roster. That is exactly what Ted just said. Lakers aren't going to go to the finals. If they do, it's going to be a Warriors-Cavs. We're the Cavs. Yeah. We're going to get absolutely annihilated if it's just Ben and Joe. Because Tobias has not done anything for me to show that he'll show up in the playoffs. I still can't believe we got rid of Jimmy. But
Ben Simmons showed you enough that he can offensively produce.
He's 23 years old.
I know, but that's what I'm saying now.
But he can prove that. He's shown you flashes that he's one of the best 25 and below in the league.
No, he hasn't. No, he hasn't, Jimmy.
He's a top 2 defender in the league, right or wrong?
Top 3. Top 3.
Top 3. Yeah.
Top 5, baby. Top 5, maybe.
My God.
I'll give him I'll give him top 3 though.
He is one of the best defenders in the league. The Lakers are getting. I said the wrong thing. If AD plays, then we're the Cavs and they're the Warriors. It's that simple. Because you got. I don't know. It'll be a close match. I honestly wouldn't mind seeing. I wouldn't mind Ben going up against LeBron. I wouldn't mind Joe going up against AD. It's just their role players are 1,000 times better than our role players. They have 2 starting 5 lineups. What do we have? We have Danny Green in our starting lineup. Danny Green wasn't getting minutes with the Lakers last year in the bubble.
Remember that one shot he had to win?
Yeah, he got death threats.
When he completely bricked it so hard.
He got death threats. It was
Knicks are the wealthiest franchise. Yeah. Yeah. That's sad. Honestly, that is sad.
We're going to turn into the Knicks. Our football team's going to turn into the Knicks.
Yeah, I think. Maybe.
But
LeBron was a favorite. Do you honestly think we would have won the chip if LeBron came that year?
What was that?
Do you think we would win a chip with Ben, LeBron, and Joe?
Yeah. If LeBron came,
no, was that
was the year that that Toronto won it all. Yeah, that was the Toronto year.
So you would have had.
So you would have never traded for Jimmy, and you don't know if you would have traded for Tobias.
Oh yeah, okay. So wait, no, but we had the Lakers. Okay,
going into that year, our starting lineup was
Rocco, Dario.
Yeah, Rocco, Dario, JJ, Ben, and Embiid.
Yeah,
that was our starting lineup going into that year. But
yeah. Wow, that.
I don't know.
Consider a ring chaser if he went though.
Who, LeBron?
Yeah.
If he went to a 22 and a 24-year-old team?
I think so.
He was considered a ring chaser for going to the Lakers and bringing AD.
Nah, they would have considered him a ring chaser just because of how high of a – and Embiid was doing great the year before. So he put the legal notice the year before.
I don't know. I still don't see how Ben and LeBron would have worked out together on the team.
They would have been two of the same player. I don't know. That would have been interesting.
That's why, because LeBron, you talk about egos. LeBron's ego is taller than the Empire State Building. But we would have got Jimmy, Ben, LeBron, Toby. Why not then?
Wow, we would have had no.
But we don't know if we would have ever traded for Jimmy Butler and Tobias if we would have signed.
I don't think we would have traded for Tobias.
The direction of this franchise would be totally different if LeBron chose us. And this is just
so weird. If Jimmy and LeBron on the same team, I feel like their egos just wouldn't match.
Especially with Ben and Joe.
Ben and Joe. Oh my god, dude, that would have been like probably the best team on paper, but just
it would have never worked. It would have never worked.
According to like the
it would have never worked.
Especially with Brett Brown as coach, he wouldn't have been coaching, dude.
LeBron would have been coaching. LeBron would have been coaching.
Yeah.
And LeBron would have been GMing too. And we probably wouldn't have built that disgusting roster 2 years ago.
Because you know what LeBron does? He goes to the teams, he trades for the best player, and he has a few good years there, and then he leaves, and then that team's like they're fucked. Just like the Cavs were. Like the Cavs are getting better, but they were fucked for a couple of years after.
Yeah. All right. Here's what I got to say. Closing remarks, Sixers. We need a Jimmy Butler-esque player, whether that's Kyle Lowry, because Kyle Lowry is kind of what Jimmy Butler is, only 7 inches shorter. And we need a JJ Redick because Furkan Korkmaz isn't doing the job. Danny Green needs to either get bought out or ride the bench. I do not want Danny Green in the playoff rotation.
His defense. So you need to find if you are going to do that, you really need to find someone that's equally as good defending as.
Ted, I agree. It's just they don't want Maxey playing right now because he's a puppy. He's 20 years old. He needs time to develop. And maybe 2 years, maybe a year or two now, he'll turn into that guy, which will be awesome next to Ben and Joe. But hopefully, as of right now, if we want to ring chase now, we need somebody like Jimmy Butler.
Yeah. And to get a player like that, you may have to give up someone like Maxey or someone like Thibault or someone like Shake. That's just
why not Furkan and some picks? Why not Furkan and some picks?
Because the teams want more than that, especially if you're trying to trade to the Raptors.
Yeah,
who are going to make the playoffs, who are going to be maybe a contending team, not contenders, not contending for the title, but contending for a top 5.
Well, how much longer can Van Fleet and Kyle Lowry play together without having a Kawhi by their side and winning? They can't.
I know.
And what free agent is going to want to go to Toronto? Nick Nurse can be the coach of the year all he wants.
They were so consistent the last few years. Like the year last year without him, they were fine.
Yeah. And then the bubble happened.
By 10 games.
Here's what I got to say about the bubble. I think the East would have been a lot different if the bubble never happened. You never know what would have happened with the Sixers at home. You never know what would have happened with the Raptors at home because both those teams don't lose at home.
Yeah. So. We saw it the year before, and we were perfect. Like they had 4 wins at home. We had 3 wins at home.
Yeah.
And that's really, and when you say like the regular season doesn't matter, it's gonna matter when it comes down to that.
Well, yeah, a few games matter for seeding wise, but I don't know.
Every game, I feel like
the mayor and the governor. The mayor and the governor are talking about 50% at the Wells Fargo, so I am 50? Very pumped about that. Yeah,
I thought 50%. It was 5,000. Is it 50?
I'm pretty sure it was. I may have my.
How much can Wells Fargo hold? Is it 15 or 20? Maybe it's close to 20.
I think so. Yeah.
It's like
I got 50% and 5,000 confused. I'm sorry.
It's all right. Yeah. 5,000 wouldn't be bad. That can definitely like change a game. I still think you can still get allowed in there with 5,000 fans.
But yeah, that's what the Sixers need. Eagles suck.
Fans. I feel like the whole city of Philadelphia this year would be a million times better with fans.
It'd be a lot different if we had fans in the
Eagles. I don't necessarily think they'd have even. They would maybe still have the controversy, but they'd still.
Carson Wentz would still be. Carson Wentz would. Hot take. Carson Wentz would still be an Eagle if we had fans in the stands.
I agree. I agree with that. Wow, I think we should quote that. I think we should quote that.
Thank you, Connor. Thank you. Quick recap of the show. The Eagles will not be winning the NFC East. Carter Hart, let's not run him out of town. I'm telling you, it's gonna be a disappointing ending. It's gonna just end in heartbreak, and we're gonna want to get rid of Carter Hart, but let's not. And the Sixers need to add to this roster if we want to legitimately compete for a title this year. Thank you so much, guys. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you, Evan, as always.
Yes, sir.
We will see you guys next.
Before we leave, drop a like.
Drop a like. Drop a subscription. Drop everything. We'll see you guys next week at 9:30. Smell you later.